Did you know that, according to a recent Pew Research Center study, over 80% of Americans get their news from social media? And simultaneously, reports of individuals engaging in online social justice activism have skyrocketed by a staggering 600% in the last decade. 600%. Think about that for a moment. Does that sound like a coincidence? Absolutely not. I'm here to tell you that social media isn't just reflecting societal changes, it's actively manufacturing them. It's creating a woke whirlwind, a tempest of engineered outrage and carefully curated conformity. We're not talking about organic shifts in public opinion. We are talking about a systematic, algorithmic manipulation of your thoughts, your beliefs, and your very perception of reality. The core of this manufactured revolution: echo chambers and viral trends. These aren't spontaneous expressions of the collective will. They are powerful, insidious forces shaping, and I would argue, distorting our understanding of wokeness. They are driving a cultural revolution, yes, but one with profound, and often utterly negative, consequences that most people are completely blind to. It's a digital coup d'etat, happening right under our noses, disguised as progress. Are we truly becoming more enlightened, more just, more aware? Or are we being meticulously, systematically manipulated by algorithms, by fleeting online outrage, by the fear of being ostracized, into a pre-approved, homogenized version of woke that benefits those pulling the strings? Are you certain your outrage is your own? Are you positive your convictions are born of free thought and not careful programming? I'm going to show you exactly how this insidious game is played, and more importantly, how to break free. Let's dive into the insidious world of echo chambers, the digital dungeons where independent thought goes to die. What are these things, really? They're not naturally occurring phenomena. They are engineered isolation chambers, meticulously crafted by the algorithms of social media giants like Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok. These platforms, you see, aren't designed for open discourse. They're designed for engagement. And what drives engagement? Confirmation bias, the insatiable human hunger to have our existing beliefs validated, amplified, and echoed back at us. These algorithms are predators, feeding on your clicks, your likes, your shares, your comments. Every interaction is meticulously tracked, analyzed, and used to build a profile of your perceived preferences. Then, with ruthless efficiency, the algorithm begins to curate your content feed. Slowly, subtly, at first, you see more and more of what you seem to like, and less of what challenges you. Gradually, you are ushered into a digital hall of mirrors, reflecting only one perspective, yours, distorted and magnified to grotesque proportions. Imagine a hypothetical user. Let's call him John. John starts out with mild concerns about, say, immigration. He clicks on a few articles expressing those concerns. The algorithm notices. It then serves him more articles on the same topic, but slightly more extreme. John, feeling validated, clicks again. The cycle continues. Soon, John is seeing articles claiming immigrants are responsible for all societal ills. He's no longer encountering balanced reporting opposing viewpoints. His feed is a constant stream of increasingly radical, increasingly alarmist content, confirming his worst fears and pushing him further down the rabbit hole. This isn't just a theoretical exercise. It's exactly how these platforms operate. It's an intellectual prison built by our own clicks, brick by digital brick. And the consequences are dire. These echo chambers don't just limit exposure to diverse perspectives, they actively amplify extreme viewpoints. Fringe ideas, once confined to the dark corners of the internet, gain a false sense of legitimacy and widespread acceptance within these isolated communities. Critical thinking is stifled, dissenting voices are silenced, or worse, attacked. The result is a dangerous illusion, a false sense of consensus within the echo chamber, which clashes violently with the reality outside, fueling societal polarization to unprecedented levels. And what's the ultimate weapon of these echo chambers? Cancel culture. The digital lynch mobs, ever vigilant, ready to pounce on any perceived deviation from the ever-shifting orthodoxy of the woke brigade. A single misspoken word, a poorly phrased tweet, a joke taken out of context, and your life can be ruined. This is the direct, inevitable byproduct of these echo chambers, a climate of fear where conformity is prized above independent thought, and where the threat of online annihilation hangs heavy over every interaction. It's a digital totalitarianism, and it's spreading like a virus. Let's tear apart this grotesque spectacle of viral trends masquerading as social justice. We're not talking about genuine grassroots movements. We're talking about hashtag hysteria, digital lynch mobs, and challenges that are about as impactful as a gnat's sneeze on a rhino's hide. These viral outbreaks, supposedly promoting awareness, are nothing more than meticulously engineered echo chambers of self-congratulation, designed to amplify the most extreme voices and drown out any semblance of reasoned discourse. They are, in reality, a cancer eating at the heart of genuine progress. Consider the anatomy of these digital plagues. A hashtag emerges often emotionally charged and intentionally simplistic and spreads like wildfire. Think Believe in Women, a sweeping generalization that ignores due process and presumes guilt based solely on accusation. Or consider the endless stream of challenges, the Ice Bucket Challenge for Owls, which, while raising significant money, quickly devolved into a performative spectacle where the original cause was often forgotten, the main focus put on celebrities and viral fame. It's about looking good, not doing good. It is moral grandstanding at its absolute worst. Remember the Coney 2012 campaign, a perfect example of viral outrage achieving astronomical visibility, yet ultimately accomplishing absolutely nothing. The video went mega viral, generating millions of views and sparking global indignation. Yet, years later, Joseph Kony remained at large, and the complex political situation in Uganda was largely unchanged. All that energy, all that outrage, dissipated into the digital ether, leaving behind a residue of self-satisfaction and the smug belief that clicking share constitutes meaningful activism. It's pathetic. It is a betrayal of those truly suffering. Or how about this one? The outrage surrounding a Covington Catholic high school student's encounter with a Native American elder. The initial, selectively edited video clip ignited a firestorm of condemnation, painting the student as a smirking symbol of white privilege and disrespect. The digital mob descended, demanding his expulsion, his ruin. Only later, when the full, unedited video emerged, did a more nuanced picture appear, revealing a far more complex and ambiguous situation. But by then, the damage was done. Reputations were tarnished, lives were threatened, all fueled by the insatiable hunger for instant judgment and viral condemnation. This isn't justice. It's a digital witch hunt, a feeding frenzy for the perpetually outraged. The psychology behind this phenomenon is sickeningly simple. It's a toxic cocktail of vanity, fear, and laziness. People crave social validation, the dopamine rush of likes and retweets, the feeling of belonging to the righteous mob. They're terrified of being branded as problematic, of being ostracized from the digital tribe, of ending up on the wrong side of the ever-shifting moral landscape. And of course, it's easy. It requires zero effort to retweet a hashtag, to post a black square on Instagram, to condemn someone you've never met based on a 30-second video clip. Real activism, real change, requires sacrifice, commitment, and hard work. But who needs that when you can achieve the same moral high ground with a few clicks of a button? This is slacktivism in its purest form, a lazy, self-serving substitute for genuine engagement. It's virtue signaling, a public display of moral righteousness designed to elevate one's social standing without requiring any actual sacrifice or risk. It is the illusion of action, an illusion of progress and moral ascendancy. It is all smoke and mirrors. So, I ask you, is this genuine progress? Are these fleeting viral moments actually making the world a better place? Or are they simply feeding our egos and exacerbating societal divisions? Are we truly fighting for justice? Or are we just participating in a grotesque, never-ending online performance? A digital masquerade ball where everyone pretends to care while secretly reveling in the drama and the self-righteous indignation. I say it's the latter, a repulsive display of moral preening that does absolutely nothing to address the root causes of the problems it claims to solve. It is a dangerous, destructive game, and we are all losing. Let's not dance around the issue. This woke whirlwind, fueled by social media's insatiable hunger for outrage, has spawned a monster: cancel culture. This isn't about accountability. It's about digital annihilation. It's a modern-day witch hunt where the accused are tried and convicted in the court of public opinion, often within hours, with no recourse, no appeal, and absolutely no mercy. Imagine this: a single tweet, a misinterpreted joke, an out-of-context quote. A decades-old blog post, any of these can become the spark that ignites the digital inferno. Suddenly, a person's entire life, their career, their reputation, their relationships is engulfed in flames. We've seen it time and again. Remember Justine Sacco, a careless, poorly worded tweet sent before boarding a flight to South Africa utterly destroyed her life while she was in the air, oblivious to the gathering storm. By the time she landed, she was the most hated person on the internet, fired from her job, and ostracized by society. Is this justice? Or is this a bloodthirsty mob, fueled by algorithms and a perverse sense of moral superiority? Or consider the case of the Covington Catholic high school student, Nick Sandman. A short video clip, selectively edited and amplified by social media, portrayed him as a smug, racist aggressor confronting a Native American elder. The outrage was immediate and visceral. He was vilified, threatened, and doxed. His personal information spread across the internet like wildfire. Later, longer videos emerged, revealing a far more nuanced and complex situation, but the damage was done. The initial narrative, the manufactured outrage, had already taken root, leaving an indelible stain on his life. This isn't about holding people accountable. It's about ruining them based on fleeting impressions and incomplete information. And it's not just public figures. Everyday people are caught in this digital inquisition. A teacher makes an offhand comment in class. A student posts a controversial opinion online. A small business owner expresses a dissenting view, and boom, the mob descends, demanding apologies, firings, boycotts. The pressure is relentless, unforgiving, and utterly terrifying. It's a climate of fear where one wrong word, one perceived misstep, can lead to social and professional oblivion. This relentless pursuit of wokeness has also birthed toxic positivity. It is the insistence on an unwavering, often unrealistic, display of optimism and agreement with the prevailing woke narrative. It is absolutely impossible to be woke enough. The goalposts are constantly shifting, the standards are ever evolving, and any deviation from the prescribed orthodoxy is met with swift and brutal condemnation. Dare to express a nuanced opinion. You're a bigot. Question the validity of a particular claim. You're part of the problem. Express any form of discomfort or disagreement. You're canceled. This constant pressure to conform creates crippling anxiety and stifles genuine self-expression. People are terrified to speak their minds, to ask questions, to engage in honest debate. The result? A chilling effect on free speech and open dialogue, the very foundations of a healthy and functioning society. This environment doesn't foster understanding. It breeds resentment, fueling a dangerous backlash against genuine social justice efforts. The very people who should be allies in the fight for equality and justice are being alienated and driven away by the extremism and intolerance of the online woke mob. It is a self-inflicted wound, a tragedy of epic proportions. This is a digital tyranny, and it must be resisted. Are you starting to feel like a lab rat, endlessly scrolling through a feed designed to manipulate your emotions and control your thoughts? Good. That's the first step to breaking free. It's time for a rebellion, a digital insurrection, a goddamn revolution against the tyranny of the algorithm. This isn't about being polite. This is about reclaiming your mind, your autonomy, your very soul from the clutches of the woke whirlwind. This requires an almost violent act of will, a conscious decision to shatter the digital chains. First, become a hunter of information, not a passive consumer. Actively seek out dissenting opinions. Yes, I said it. Deliberately expose yourself to viewpoints that make you uncomfortable, that challenge your precious, carefully constructed worldview. Don't just follow the echo chamber approved influencers. Seek out alternative news sources, read long form articles, listen to podcasts from people you vehemently disagree with. Think of it as intellectual cross training, building up the muscles of critical thinking that have atrophied from disuse. The algorithm wants you docile and predictable. Prove it wrong. Second, understand that one like, one retweet, one share is a brick in the wall of your own intellectual prison. Question everything before you amplify a message, before you join the online mob. Ask yourself, who benefits from this? Is this outrage organic, or is it being manufactured? Are you acting out of genuine conviction, or are you simply seeking the fleeting dopamine hit of social approval? The algorithm feeds on your engagement, turning your emotions into data points, your activism into a commodity. Starve the beast. Learn to scroll past the outrage, to resist the siren song of the viral trend. This isn't apathy, it's strategic disengagement. Third, translate your online outrage into real-world action. Do you actually care about the issue, or are you just performing for an audience? Instead of posting a black square, volunteer at a local charity. Instead of sharing a petition, donate to a relevant cause. Instead of engaging in endless online debates, have difficult conversations with people in your actual life. Real change happens in the messy, unpredictable world outside your screen, not in the sterile, curated environment of social media. Get your hands dirty. Feel the weight of reality. Escape the digital matrix. Fourth, and this is crucial, cultivate intellectual independence. Develop the iron will, the steel spine, to stand alone against the tide of popular opinion. Dare to question the narrative. Dare to be unpopular. Dare to think for yourself, even if it means being labeled a heretic by the online inquisition. The woke mob thrives on conformity. Its power lies in its ability to silence dissent. Become ungovernable. Be the glitch in the system. Embrace the radical notion that you are not obligated to agree with everyone, that you are entitled to your own thoughts, your own beliefs, your own damn perspective. This is not about being right. It's about being free. This is a war for your mind. And the weapons are critical thinking, real-world engagement, and ruthless, unwavering intellectual independence. Break free from the digital echo chamber. Dare to think for yourself. Reject the tyranny of online opinion. This is your call to arms. Are you going to be a puppet of the algorithm, a mindless drone in the woke hive mind? Or are you going to be a free thinker, a rebel, a sovereign individual? The choice is yours, and the time to choose is now. Let's cut the pretense. The charade is over. Social media isn't a town square. It's a meticulously crafted coliseum, and you are the gladiator, whether you realize it or not. Every like, every share, every fleeting outrage is a drop of blood, fueling a beast of engineered consent. I told you from the beginning, this isn't about reflection, it's about fabrication. A woke whirlwind, I called it. A cultural revolution manufactured bite by bite, click by click, outrage by outrage. And like all manufactured revolutions, it devours its own. We've dissected the echo chambers, those digital prisons where your own biases are reflected back at you until you believe they represent the entire world. We've seen the viral trends, the fleeting hashtags that offer the illusion of progress while leaving the real problems untouched, festering beneath a veneer of online virtue. We've witnessed the sickening spectacle of cancel culture, the digital lynch mobs destroying lives over perceived offenses, turning the pursuit of justice into a blood sport. Toxic positivity, the constant pressure to conform, the fear of uttering a single wrong word, it's a suffocating, soul-crushing digital inquisition. This isn't enlightenment. It's a new form of tyranny, a digital dark age. So here we stand at the precipice. The algorithm beckons, promising validation, belonging, the fleeting high of righteous anger. It wants to mold you, to shape you, to turn you into another cog in its machine of manufactured consent. It wants to strip you of your individuality, your critical thinking, your very soul. Will you surrender? Will you become another mindless drone, regurgitating pre-approved opinions, participating in the ritualistic shamming of designated heretics? You let the fear of online ostracism dictate your every thought and action. Or will you fight? Will you reclaim your mind from the digital overlords? Will you dare to question the narrative, to challenge the consensus, to seek out diverse perspectives, even those that make you uncomfortable? The future of discourse, the future of thought itself, is hanging in the balance. It's a battle for your intellectual sovereignty, a war for your very self. Choose wisely, dare to dissent, dare to be real, reclaim your mind, reclaim your voice, reclaim reality before it's gone completely. This isn't a suggestion, it is a goddamn imperative. The time for passive consumption is over. The time for action is now.